man north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich man knows the rich man.
All right, episode 30, Prano Brothers podcast. We are back,
Hey.
season 10. How you feel about that? We made it one full decade.
Oh, we didn't make it yet. This is the start of season 10.
All
And this
right.
was the third take of the opening, so that tells you how it's going.
We're rumbling, stumbling, bumbling into
Yes.
this podcast.
And this isn't season 10 of the podcast. You know, the first probably 5 years had this thing called a blog, which I don't think those things exist anymore, but you know,
I don't think
Jeff
so.
will still read them.
It took us a while to figure out that Jeff can't actually read, so then we had to quit the blog game. Yeah,
Right.
so
Shame on us for that. We should have known better.
As a league, I'm disappointed that Bob, I believe, has 50% of the championships. I think he's won 5 different times. So I can at least say I have won once with an asterisk, but I do have a championship. So that makes me feel better. I don't think I'm going to win this year, though.
I mean, so what you're telling me is we need to get to 50 years so Bob can get down to only 10%. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, we need a 50-year league. How old are we going to be in 50 years? Or 40 more years at this point?
I don't know. We'll probably have some AI robots playing for us at that point. So we can make much better decisions than I can. So, yeah.
Maybe your AI robot will be able to win a championship. All right, so NFL news and notes, then maybe some draft grades and some season predictions. And throughout the year, I think we can check in once or twice to see how we're doing. How's that sound?
Yeah. It's always good to check back on the initial predictions, you know, just hold ourselves accountable, just so we're not just blowing smoke up here with, you know, no repercussions.
Just hot take after hot take.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, this isn't ESPN, so yeah.
it's better than ESPN. All right, what are you drinking tonight?
You know, standard clan season hasn't started yet, and you know,
Standard
I
Clan.
well, the standard Flan McGregor.
Yeah, you're still on that train. I like it. I found one of these in the wild, the Bush Light camo can, so I had to pick it up. Limited
How did
edition.
how'd you catch it without putting a bullet hole in it? Did you use some sort of trap
I
or
did. I'm a trapper now.
oh,
I
okay.
have one of the Davy Crockett raccoon hats to go trapping in. All right, so NFL news and notes. Where do you want to start? You want to talk about your new best friend, Aaron Rodgers?
Oof. I mean, I was just pretty fired up. You might as well just go copy and paste
Roll the tape.
the 5 minutes prior, you know, from when we started and just pop it in this. But yeah, now I've kind of calmed down, so I can't get too fired up about Rodgers. But the one thing I do like about this, and when I say this, I mean me hating Aaron Rodgers, is I used to actually like the guy when he was on the Packers. Everyone hated him. I was like, you know, whatever. Let him do his thing. He's on the Packers. Giants always beat him in the playoffs. So, you know, I got nothing against him. But now all of a sudden he comes to the Jets, who have been a joke of a franchise for, call it the history of their franchise. And now all of a sudden he thinks he can talk massive shit, bring all his little Packers butt buddies, and just run the show in New York. Well, sorry, Rodgers. One little preseason touchdown drive against the Giants' third string defense doesn't make you the king of New York. So, um, yeah, that's where I'm at with Rodgers. He kind of looks like a Lego character in his Jets helmet. I don't know. It just, as soon as he put on that Jets helmet, I don't like him.
Made
It,
you hate him?
it's like, it did. It's like everyone knows Rodgers has an ego, but as soon as that Jets helmet went on, like the ego went X10. which
That's what New York City does. I mean, he was in Green Bay, Wisconsin, for fuck's sake. I mean, that's New York is what 30 times bigger than Green Bay. So yeah, his ego had to grow a little bit. But I heard I don't know if it was him or Cobb or Lazard, one of the former Packers, renamed the stadium Jet Life Stadium. How do you feel about that?
being the stadium's, I'll just say it straight out. That stadium sucks. It
So you
actually
don't
has
even
been
want it
voted.
as a Giants fan. You don't even want to lay
Oh,
claim to that stadium.
no, it has been voted one of the worst stadiums in the NFL, and it was only built, what, 12 years ago? Well, no, 2009. So yeah, we're looking at 14, 15 years ago. I mean, that's pathetic if you go from Giant Stadium, the Meadowlands, that the swirling winds to some garbage little MetLife crap stadium. Yeah, the place stinks. Trust me, it stinks. People in
I think
this,
I've only seen one game there, and it was a long time ago, so I don't remember the particulars. But yeah, it didn't stick out. I'll put it that way, like some of the other stadiums have.
yeah, I mean, you saw a Giants Raiders game in the old Giants Stadium, and you saw a Giants Raiders game at MetLife. I mean, old Giant Stadium was an old stadium, so it is what it was. But the new one is very underwhelming because you had Jerry Jones build the Death Star only a few years before the Giants built MetLife. And it's like, oh, Jerry Jones built this awesome stadium. Let's just build a crappy one instead of trying to keep up. Like,
Yeah, there is nothing notable about MetLife Stadium. Like
yeah, well,
it's just basically the dome minus the top. It's just concrete, and that's about it.
yeah, the outside's stupid. Like, and I'm not saying I need a great outside, but I mean, the turf on that stadium, on that field for over a decade was so bad. Everyone tore their ACL there, and it took the owners over a decade to be like, oh, maybe we should do something here. It's been disaster after
Yeah,
disaster.
hey, give Mara some credit. It's tough to pay for new turf when you're giving away free medium Pepsis to all season ticket holders on Fan Appreciation Day. Those medium sodas aren't free, Pat.
You're right. You know what? And they're not going to pour themselves. So that's
Oh, he's the worst. I hate your owner. All right, moving on. The what else just happened? Trey Lance got traded to the Cowboys for what was it? A third round pick,
fourth.
fourth round pick. How do you feel about that trade?
It just further proves, like day after day, week after week, season after season, how much of a joke the Cowboys are. They haven't been to an NFC championship since what, 1995, I believe it was. Half of the league wasn't even born then. These Cowboys fans were in diapers when the last time the Cowboys were actually relevant. So, I mean, this just gives me more ammo to laugh at the Cowboys. Side note, Mikey and Tadio won't trade me for Trey Lance, so that just shows you how much they don't like the deal. Actual Cowboys fans, and I offered them fourth round picks. Hey, fourth round pick in real life, which is an NFL fourth round pick is much more valuable than a dome fourth round pick, and
Yeah, yeah.
they
I'd
still
give
didn't
up
want it.
I'd give up a fourth for Lance if I was a Cowboys fan.
But yeah, so they just want the. I guess they're still riding that Dak train.
Maybe. So what, trying to read into this from the Cowboys perspective, I feel like this is now the backup plan. Maybe not back. This is the plan for Dak Prescott's successor. I believe Dak's contract runs through next year. They can't cut him next year. He
You
has to
say
play.
successor or next time he gets injured, which will be soon,
I
probably.
mean, yeah, he might get injured, but and all the better. But I feel like after paying Dak the crazy amount of money that they paid him, his cap hit this year is 26. Yeah, $26.8 million. Next year, it's 59.4. Now, maybe they go ahead and restructure that and extend him, but he'll be 31 years old. If they don't make the playoffs and win a couple games this year, I feel like Jerry's going to want to get rid of him. They'll play him in 2024 and then turn it over to Lance in 2025 because he's going to be cheaper. They'll be able to build a team around him like they did when Dak was a rookie, right? They had Zeke. They had good wide receivers, right, Dez? They had the best offensive line. I feel like Jerry wants to get back to that.
I can see that, but one thing that blows my mind is these NFL GMs. Those contract numbers that you just stated. So number one, 31 years old for a quarterback, dude, that's your prime. You're in your prime at 31 years old as a quarterback. That's not old at all. But these GMs where the cap hit goes from what would you say 26 to 50 something nonsense,
59-4, yeah.
almost 60. That's absolutely insane. That's just like Kyler Murray. The Cardinals are stuck with him because next year his cap hit is in the 70s. Like that, it just
Which is why I think
uh,
Jerry wants to get away from the high paid quarterback, and Lance could be a low cost option that he feels they can develop into a starter that they can pay cheaply. So I feel like that's the plan. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. Maybe Dak does well and they extend him, but I don't know if they haven't won with Dak yet. I don't know if they're going to. I don't think he's the guy.
I don't think so either. But I also don't think Jerry Jones thinks that Lance is going to be the savior and they're going to build around him. I think it was just kind of like, well, two things. Lance, all right, possible he has talent, so it's possible maybe he can develop. Two,
Agreed. Yeah.
two, Dak needs a fucking kick in the ass because he's too comfortable and thinks he owns this city when he doesn't. He hasn't done shit. So maybe lighting a little fire under his ass will, get him going and actually do something. So I think
Yeah.
those are the two things. I don't think you can count on Lance and be like, all right, Dak this year, Dak next year, then we're going with Lance. There's no way you can count on that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know if signing a backup, trading for a fourth round pick for a backup really lights a fire when you're getting paid that amount of money. Maybe it does. Maybe you're right. But I do agree Lance is like a low risk option that maybe he develops into something that can be a long term option.
All right, moving on. Enough Cowboys nonsense. I did write one more thing down. I think I wrote this down like 3 weeks ago. And this is just a little tidbit. Nothing against the player. I just want to state that straight out. Nothing against the player. This is only to get Jeff and the Titans terrible drafting. Corey Davis retired this training camp. So, hey, good career. Nothing against the guy. Hope he enjoys retirement, but it's just hilarious the Titans are so bad at drafting first round
Yeah, they're
picks.
horrible. They might be the only team worse than the Raiders at drafting. I mean, the Raiders are horrible, but yeah. And then you go right. Everyone touts Will Levis because they got him in the second round, right? He fell, and the Titans were the smart team that drafted him, and he can't even beat out Malik. What is it? Malik Willis, the guy out of Liberty from a couple years ago, who looked horrible last offseason. Now maybe Malik Willis has developed. I mean, he was a developmental prospect, but knowing that, why did you draft Levis in the second round? It just doesn't make sense.
Now, like sometimes you just wish that you knew what your team's plan was, because it seems like a lot of these teams don't really have plans. They just kind of go willy-nilly here and
The
there.
Titans, yeah,
Like,
they have no plan. They trade away AJ Brown, right, and then go and sign
yeah,
DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, you get Tannehill, Willis, Levis. Derrick Henry's getting older. Why wouldn't I don't know what the hell the Titans are doing.
yep.
Yeah,
That's why, even though you said Dad is thinks the Giants are the Super Bowl champs, which hey, maybe they will be, but the thing about this new regime is they have a plan and it's clear, and we can get behind it and feel comfortable with what they're doing. So that's why maybe we sound, more positive about the Giants these days. I know it's not a thing Raiders fans feel, or Titans fans, or Cowboys fans, but when you actually have that feeling, embrace it.
so yeah, I agree with that. I don't feel that way only because of the defense. I don't understand why Patrick Graham still has a job as the Raiders defensive coordinator. We
Yeah.
blew like 9, 10 point leads last year. McDaniels knows how to run an offense. Like,
Welcome to the Giants 3 years ago. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we know how to run an offense. We scored. I mean, Derek Carr looked bad at times. Like that Pittsburgh game in December, he got benched immediately afterward. He looked bad. The game against the Saints. Now, I think half the team had the flu that game, but we got shut out 24-0. Even with those stinkers, we still had, I think, the 12th scoring offense, so we can score, but the
That score
defense
points.
was just so bad. I don't understand how Patrick Graham has a job. But, you know, thinking about this and thinking about the Giants and their plan, and you mentioned the cap hits on the quarterbacks, I think the Giants are pretty much in the same boat. Now, they have Daniel Jones's contract structured a little bit better than Dak's. Daniel Jones cap hit this year, 21 million. Next year, it jumps to 45. The year after that, 39.5. And the year after that, the final year is 56.5. The kicker on that last year, 2026, when Daniel Jones be 29, the dead cap is only $9 million. So you could theoretically cut him before you take that 56.5 cap hit. So if he works out, right, that's fine. But I think the next couple of years will be a little bit tougher with the cap when he jumps to 45 and 40.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. But, and there's always a but, the cap is always projected to increase each year. And the reason why they kept it low this year and punted some money down the road is because this year we're still paying Kenny Galladay $15 million.
I'm not
We're
saying
also
there
paying
aren't good reasons for that. I'm just saying if you
right,
use
right.
that against Dak, you got to use it against Jones because their contracts are basically the same.
Well, the thing is, I don't know. Dak's going to be 59 and Jones is going to be 40. Would you say 44? That's a big difference. So,
45, but Daniel
okay,
Jones's
45. That's still
does get up to
14 difference.
56. Does get up to
And
56.5.
the following year, okay.
Yeah.
But let's just put it this way. We have Leonard Williams on a 32 plus $1 million contract this year, a Dave Gettleman special, and Galladay at 15. Okay. I don't know, 32 plus 15, call it 47 on two guys, one of them not even on the team. Leonard Williams' contract comes off the books. This is his last year of his contract this year. So things open up after this year, and there's going to be more maneuvering, more room. Okay. That's all.
That's fair. That's fair. Cowboys fans could be saying the same thing about. I don't know the details of their roster construction. I'm just saying it's similar. Now, I will say you can't really
Let's find out.
badmouth Dave Gettleman because he did bring in guys like Graham Gano, right, who are just fantastic, just churn
Oh
out
my
points year
God.
after year.
Yeah, James, it's real hard to sign a free agent all pro kicker. Yeah, oh my God. You roll out of bed and take a piss and be like, oh, Graham Gano's available. Hey, you want to come play? All right, yeah, let's go. Like, come on, dude. No, I'm so tired of the people defending Dave Gill. Oh,
I
we didn't
think you're
sign
giving
him.
Gettleman too much credit. I think he actually took a piss and then rolled out of bed.
You're probably right. But it says, oh, yeah, Dave Gettleman. Oh, he signed so many good guys. The guy had top five picks every single year of his goddamn career on the Giants. He better pick good guys. Like, come on, it's not hard. Oh my God. The guy didn't know. The guy thought the salary cap was like the fucking fruit wheel at Turning Stone. Like, there's no cap, there's no anything. Throw whatever you want down, whatever happens, happens. You'll figure it out in 3 years.
Someone will figure it out in 3 years. He won't because he won't have a
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. All right. 2024. Yeah, the Cowboys are paying okay, Dak, 59 mil in 2024. DeMarcus Lawrence, 20. Zach Martin, 28 and a half. Dude, those are big numbers. Trayvon Diggs, 16 and a half. Brandon Cooks, 10. Gallup, 13. Dude, Cowboys aren't gonna have a
But
team
you
next
gotta look
year.
at the details. Some of those they might be able to get out of with no dead cap. So we're not gonna watch you go through the Cowboys
Dak,
roster here.
61 dead cap. DeMarcus Lawrence, 17. Zach Martin,
All
41.
right, all right.
Gallup, 13. Oh,
Moving
Trayvon Diggs,
on.
28. The dead cap's more.
All right, you've talked about it enough. Give me the prediction for who wins the NFC East and how bad the Cowboys are going to be.
Who wins the NFC East? All right, so as much as I do like Sam Howell, to be honest. I watched that preseason game versus the Ravens. The guy can sling it. He's got Dotson, two good running backs. Their defense is pretty good. Um, all right, I think Dallas is going to come in last place in the division. I think the Eagles
You
you know
think
what?
Dallas is coming in last?
Yes.
Okay.
Washington right above them.
Okay.
Philly in second, Giants in first. And you know why I say that? Because it's been almost 2 decades and no team has won the division 2 years in a row. So I'm just going to stick with history. So that's why I'm not picking the Eagles first. I
Yeah,
think they
yeah.
might have a little
Not because
Super
you're a
Bowl game.
homer. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So Mark Giants, Eagles, Washington, Dallas. That's
All
it right
right.
there.
All right. You heard it here first. All right, so let's get into the rookie draft grades. I think we'll go alphabetical order here, which means we're leading off with the Bel Air Squid. So I guess since this is your draft, I'll start. I'm going to give you a solid B plus. I like the trade back from one to get, I believe it was 8 and 10 from Tim. I think you had 9 or something like that. So Zay Flowers, Marvin Mims, they were solid picks. That the running back out of Seattle and the running back out of New Orleans, there's potential there, right? They're not first on the depth chart, but you're not getting starters with those late first, early second round picks. I like the Jalen Hyatt pick as much as I like shitting on the Giants. He's looks to be like a good deep threat based on what he's done in preseason. So I think he'll develop. Yeah, McBride, Vaughn looked good. I don't know too much about Puka Nuka from the Rams and Deontay Banks, but overall, I think he had a pretty good draft. I'll give you B plus. Only thing that kept you from an A in my eyes is you didn't really get any studs, and that's just where you were at in the draft order.
Yeah, I would say that's a fair assessment. Yeah, I mean, my first 4 picks, Flowers and Mims, were going to be starters. Now, Mims, just on the basis of injuries, but hey, that's how it works. Charbonnet, I mean, hey, number 2, always take it. Miller, number 2 right now, take it. My only my only regret is taking Dwayne McBride in the 3rd round. I don't know why I thought that guy was going to be good. He straight up got cut. He's not even in the practice squad. Like he's just toast. So, and Puka Nakua, if that's how you say his name, he has nonsense guys to pass. Ben Skrowernick, Van Jefferson, and Cooper Cup is injured. So like Puka Nakua can easily be in that number 3 receiver mix very shortly. So that's my sleeper of my draft. Deontay Banks, I don't have enough roster space to keep him. He was kind of like, all right, Giants guy, I'll take him with my 6th rounder. But yeah,
Yep, understood. All right, so what letter grade are you giving yourself?
um, yeah, just like you said, I think I give myself a solid B plus.
Okay. All right, good deal.
Yeah.
Let me just say I'm grading these based on the players drafted only. Not necessarily if you traded picks away like I did or like Bry did, what you got in return for those picks. I'm just looking at the draft, whether or not I like those players in those slots, and giving the grade. All right, so with that,
Sounds fair.
we'll move on to Bry, the Max Myers. He only had fourth, fifth, and sixth round picks. Tyree Wilson, Trenton Simpson, Xavier Hutchinson. I will give this a D, only because I like Tyree Wilson. If I didn't, I'd give it an F. Honestly, I don't think Tyree Wilson develops into like a top 10 defensive lineman for fantasy purposes. So, yeah, I mean, what do you expect in the fourth, fifth, and round, and at the end of those rounds? I don't really blame Bry, but I don't think any of these players are going to contribute.
No, yeah. I mean, they will be off his roster. If they aren't already, then they'll be pretty soon. I mean, Xavier Hutchinson might be his only possible guy to do stuff because the the Texans kept 6 receivers. One of them's Robert Woods, the other one's Noah Brown and Nico Collins. So like if Xavier Hutchinson can actually be a guy, then I mean that's a pretty good pick. So yeah, I'm gonna give Bry with the picks he had and the kind of angle he went. I'll give him a C plus.
Okay,
Or
that's
no,
fair.
not C plus. C minus, C minus.
Okay, I give him a D.
Yeah.
All right, up next, yours truly. I'll let you go first, since I went first on your draft.
I mean, Yeah, I, I'll give you a C plus. You know why? Because you turned Shoemaker. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna give you a B. Because you turned Shoemaker into mayor. Evan Hall, I mean, I would say you got not lucky, but that what's his name is just holding out and stinks. So Evan Hall could have a serious role at the beginning of the season. So a fifth round pick having a role, turning a third round dirt Cowboys tight end into a Raiders tight end who what was Mayer? Was he the number two tight end coming out or what?
Yeah, I think he was the fourth
Number
taken,
two,
but there
number
was a
three?
bunch in a row. But full disclosure,
Yeah.
that was a package deal. DeAndre Hopkins was included. I got a first round pick. Shoemaker was included. He gave me Mayer, so
Okay.
it was a
Yeah.
big package deal.
Okay. And then Aiden O'Connell, yeah. I mean, you took him. So this is the thing. I drafted Daniel Jones in the fifth round when he was a rookie. And now he's my starting quarterback and he's legit. This O'Connell could, I mean, that could turn out to be actually good. So yeah, I'll give you a a B minus on that actually.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to give myself a C plus. Same kind of thing. Evan Hall has a chance to contribute here. He was the last pick in the fifth round. That's really all you can hope for is a few good games. Same thing with O'Connell. I've had some good luck with six round picks. Jalen Hurts was my sixth round pick. Now he's a top three fantasy quarterback.
Hurts was sixth round pick.
Yeah, I also drafted Kenny Galladay in the sixth round and ended up flipping him for a first round pick after one or two good years. So I've had some good luck. I hope Aiden O'Connell becomes a guy because he's on the Raiders and he's on my practice squads or taxi squad. So yeah, I'll give myself a C plus.
So let me ask you, does Aiden O'Connell actually have any talent? Like, is there a potential he could be a guy? Or,
I think
I
he's
mean,
the
because I know the
guy
Raiders
after
situation.
Jimmy. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Jimmy's not a long-term guy. Aiden's obviously next in line, but can Aiden, like, does he have the tools to actually become a guy?
Yeah. So before the NFL draft, Josh McDaniels, when asked about the quarterbacks and Aiden O'Connell came up, he said he processes the game like Brady did. So I think McDaniels loves him. I think he's going to do everything in his power to make that guy the starter.
Gotcha. And what
He,
round did the Raiders draft him in?
he was like the last pick of the fourth round.
Right. Not bad.
Yeah, he had a
Interesting.
fantastic preseason. It's preseason, right? You're going against second team and third teams, but at least he looked good, right? If you look bad, that's not a good sign, but he looked good. So
Right. There's plenty of guys that have garbage preseason, so you can't take it away from him that he looked good.
yeah, agreed. All right, let's move on to Derek. Let's see. Derek had six picks. He had a second, two thirds, fourth, fifth, sixth. Bryce Young was his first one at the middle endish of the second round. Musgrave, some New England safety. That Kayshawn, I don't know how you say that last name, Bouette. Um, the wide receiver out of LSU who had some character concerns, Witherspoon, and then A.T. Perry. So I actually, for again, Derek's picks, where he had, who he got, I actually like the draft, even though I'm not a Bryce Young fan. I like Musgrave. I love um, the New England wide receiver, Kayshawn, and I like the draft and a safety that goes to New England because they seem to be able to really scout DBs. So I'm going to give Derek a B plus for this draft.
You couldn't cut out. Would you give him?
A B plus.
B plus. All right. So everything you said, I agree with. Like Musgrave, who at A.T. Perry in the sixth round, like that guy made the roster. He's just right there in the mix. Like all these teams are only keeping five or six wide receivers these days. If you're a rookie and you make that, like you have a legit chance. All it takes is one sprained ankle, and boom, you're right in the mix. So I like that. The only thing I don't like is uh, they're taking Bryce Young with his first pick in a one quarterback league. When, hang on, let me just tell you what Derek's quarterbacks are: Justin Fields, Geno Smith, Brock Purdy. Zach Wilson. It just seems like a giant waste to me. Like, well,
Yeah,
it just
he
like,
definitely didn't
dude,
need it.
yeah, you already have Fields. He's young as shit. He's on the uprise. Like, Fields could be Derek's starting quarterback for the next decade. And then you have Geno. He's a great backup now. All of a sudden, Brock Purdy. He's super young. He's coming into his own. Like, that just doesn't make sense. So that's why I'll give Derek. I'm leaning B. What did you give him?
I give him B plus.
B plus. Okay. I just want to take a look real quick. I don't know why this Flickr doesn't do the grid draft, but when Derek took Bryce Young, who was around him to take? If they're like actually legit guys, maybe not so much, but all right. I'll just give Derek a solid B,
Okay. All right, moving on to
just because I like all of his other guys.
yeah. All right, moving on to Steve. Steve had 5 picks, didn't have a second round pick. Quentin Johnson, Chargers, Josh Downs, Indy, Sean Tucker, who he has since traded away, Darnell Washington, and Stenson Bennett in the 6th round. So, as much as this pains me to say this, I'll probably give Jeff an A minus. I like most of these guys, minus the QB he took in the 6th. Washington in the 5th, he's got a potential to be a guy. Downs has the potential to be a guy in the 3rd. Tucker, even though he traded him away, obviously love Sean Tucker. And Quentin Johnson should, maybe he doesn't do a lot this year with Allen and Williams, but he'll be one of the guys next year with Herbert thrown to him. So I think he'll end up being at least a decent fantasy player.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna go as far as an A on Jeff, but I do like it, so I'm gonna go B plus. Johnson, obviously good. Downs, he's gonna get serious time. Tucker, I mean, he's looking like he can really make a role for himself. Washington, I mean, I think I've given up. Well, not given up on tight ends, but tight ends always have so much hype. Yet even the top guys don't even score that much. Like, oh, Darnell Washington is like 6'12", fucking 400 pounds. He's gonna be a red zone beast. So I don't blame him for taking him a 5th round. And then Stetson Bennett, you can't go wrong with any quarterback that Sean McVay, has his eye out on. And
Fair.
Stafford's not a spring chicken. So, you know, everyone's saying the Rams are going to be tanking. Stafford could be toast. Hey, Stetson Bennett can do some stuff. So, yeah, I'll give Jeff a B plus. And it pains me to say it too, because I like this draft in our family league. So maybe Jeff finally getting married and having a kid has made him more humble, and he's actually like thinking clearly. So
Could be. Or
yeah.
maybe it's sleep deprivation, and that's helping his drafting. So okay, all right, good deal. Let's see. Up next, Mike Sherino. I'll let you take this one first. I've been going first on most of these.
I mean, I almost want to give Mike an incomplete. Will Levis, he obviously only took him to trade him to Jeff. Like that's it. There was
Which
no other
which he
reason for
did,
taking Will Levis.
which he
Exactly.
did, but he traded him for a 3rd round pick, so it was an even trade. I
Right.
would have waited, see if Levis panned out, and then traded him for a lot more. But that's neither here nor
Yeah.
there.
Tucker Craft, I mean, let me just do one real quick and see where he is. Oh, so he was the Packers took two tight ends back to back. So that's, I mean,
Weird.
like we were just talking about, tight ends are just, especially rookies, unless you're top of the top of the top, you're not going to do anything. So nothing. Tank Dell, I do like. That's the one guy I do like. So I remember reading about him and all the experts like, oh, small school Houston, he's not big enough, he's not fast enough, this and that. But preseason, he looked great. And he's already carved out a little role in Houston. And I actually think, like, all right, all he has in front of him is Robert Woods. Come on. Tank Dell's going to be getting stuff. So I do like that pick late in the 5th round. And then some random linebacker, don't know. Oh, what? He's behind Devin White and all their other dominant linebackers. So, I mean, I think I don't know. He drafted quarterback for a trade. I like Tank Dell. The other two, no. I think I'm just gonna give Mike a C minus.
Yep, that's fair. That's a grade I was going to go with. Actually, I agree with everything you said. Tank the C minus grade is really because he secured Tank Dell. Not a fan of anyone else he drafted. So, yeah, I'll go C minus. I think Tank Dell could actually be a guy. So, okay, Tadio Jackson Heights Hair. Tadio had a handful of picks, 11 it looks like.
Along with a million picks. Yeah.
Yeah, a million picks, most of them in the first two rounds, so that's good. I will say, just in general, I don't want to review every guy because we'd be here all night, but I'll hit on maybe just the guys in the first and the second. Gibbs, I think that's a solid pick at 2. Richardson is a wasted pick at 7, especially one quarterback league. And I know Tadio has other quarterbacks that are decent, right? He's got Dak, he's got Stafford. I think those two guys are fine. I don't think, I mean, maybe Richardson
Eh,
ends up being better, but I don't think he's good enough to be taken in the 7th pick in a 1
seventh
QB
overall.
league.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
Mayer, he's since traded. Campbell should be a decent linebacker. I like Mingo. I liked Rice. Not a big Will Anderson fan, but maybe it'll turn out to be good. So, yeah, just not a huge fan of this draft, but it's not bad. He had so many picks. He'll hit on a few of them for sure. So I'll give him a B.
And I was just gonna say this is like war of attrition. You have a
Mm.
thousand picks. You're gonna hit on a few of them. So it's like you don't need to be as precise when you have this many picks. Like you're gonna get something. So
Which is fair. That's probably why he drafted Richardson.
right. So yeah, I'm gonna go B minus.
All right.
I think he could have been a little more precise on these, but what do I know?
All right. Up next, Curse of the Bobino. I'll let you go here first. He had 8 picks. Bob usually doesn't trade any picks ever, and he had 2 firsts and 2 thirds.
So I'm not gonna let my bias of being for taking Dalton Kincaid right in front of me because that's why I ended up with one guy in those first 3 picks I didn't want because I was planning on taking Kincaid. I did not think Bob was going to take him. Um, so Smith and Jigba, obviously, that guy's a beast. He's been banged up a little bit in preseason, but I'm not going to hold that against him. I think that's a good pick. Kincaid, I think is a very good pick as well because I want like one pick after Bob. Roshan Johnson, that's another good one. I thought because he's the number 2 right behind Herbert. And from everything I read on the Bears, um, for some reason, they're just like these beat writers don't want to commit to Herbert. It's weird. And then Deonta Foreman, no one's going to trust that idiot. So, yeah, I do like the Roshan Johnson. Then he goes a Rams guy. He loves Packers receivers and then 3 defensive guys. So I'm just going to cancel out the 3 defensive guys. I don't know. I'm going to give Bob a B.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to give Bob a B
B
plus.
B because of JSN and Kincaid and Johnson. Those 3 guys, and then he had 5 other picks that were just kind of like blah, but whatever.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give him a B plus. I like his first 3 picks like you did. I also like the Brian Branch pick. I don't know if he's a corner or safety. I'm sure he can do a little bit of both, but he's one of the guys I had my eye on. So I'll give Bob a B plus. All right. Up next, Dad's team.
Oh man.
For what 5 picks? I'm not a huge fan of this. I'm sure he'll be upset after he hears this, but I'm gonna give him a D. Um, Not a big Chase Brown fan. Tajay Sparrows is missing an ACL. Sidney Brown, I don't mind as a pick. Hopefully, he starts as a safety. Will McDonald, if he starts, he could be a guy. But again, those are defensive guys. We just talked about that. Brenton Strange is a strange pick because I have no idea who he is. Maybe he ends up being a guy, but yeah, just he only had 5 picks, but I think he could have done. If I were him, I would have picked some different guys in the second round over what he did. So, yeah, I'll give him a D.
Grange is a third. He's third on the depth chart, so that's out. Will McDonald, don't know. Safety. So it's really between Chase Brown and Tajay. I mean, Chase Brown, like, is there mixing question marks? I don't know, but yeah, that seems like a reach.
Yeah, no, there are mixing question marks, right? And there are
Yeah,
Derrick Henry question marks, right? So, I mean, maybe those
right.
guys both get some run, but I don't think Tajay Spears can last in the NFL with only one ACL in his knee.
So the thing is, at least Tajay Spears is the number two running back. It's Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears, nobody else. The third guy is Julius Chestnut. That's not a real guy. So
That's one of those
at least
computer
he's
generated players in Madden.
yes, exactly. So at least he got, two potentially number two running backs behind starters that have question marks. Well, I I don't even think I would call Henry a question mark. I think I would say Mixon's more of a question mark.
Yeah, Mixon is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So that's why I Chase Brown. Okay. Henry's a stud. Spears number two. Hey, maybe the Titans will finally have smart coaches for once and not run Henry into the ground every single play. You never know.
At this point in his
So
career, if I was a coach, I would. I mean, you're gonna run him until the wheels fall off, right?
yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna go Dad C minus.
Okay.
Just one better than you, so you get the brunt of it.
All right. The South Florida Hot Cheetahs, the
Oh,
Mikey combo. All right, so I actually like a couple picks in here. Addison, I think Minnesota, kind of like the Patriots with DBs. Minnesota can scout wide receiver talent, so I have high hopes for Addison. He can be the number two to Jefferson. They got rid of Thielen. Targets should be opening up as this guy develops. Laporta, I didn't know much about him before the draft. Preseason, training camp, ton of hype, so maybe turns out to be good. Um, Stroud, we'll see. At least it was a second round pick instead of, like Taddeo picked Richardson at 7 overall. At least this was number 14 overall, so I can stomach that. I liked Hooker in the 5th round. Hated Mozzie Smith. He looks like a bum, but it's a 6th round pick, so he's probably not making the team anyway. I will never draft a cornerback. I didn't like the Christian Gonzalez pick because cornerbacks are horrible in fantasy. So I'll give Mikey a B. I'll give him a B.
so I'm gonna give Mikey a B plus. I agree with a lot of things you said. I'm a little higher on Sam Laporta. He's a starting tight end for the for the Lions. If you got rid of Hawkinson, Laporta slots right in. You know a guy like Goff needs his tight ends. And then the reason why I go B plus is because I like CJ Stroud so much better than Bryce Young. Bryce Young is just a tiny little child out there on the field. I think CJ Stroud might actually be pretty legit. So I like that. Cedric Tillman too. I was gonna pick him. I think Tillman's a beast.
Yep, I didn't
Uh,
hit on him. Yep, I agree with that.
yeah. So, dude, 4th round, Cedric Tillman. I think that's great value. I agree with Christian Gonzalez, cornerback. I think they could have waited till the 6th round, like I took Deontay Banks and just cut him. But I mean, that's fourth, like almost a 5th round pick. Who cares? Hendon Hooker, good pick in the 5th. Stash him on the IR, see what happens, and then yeah, Dallas guy, yeah, obviously trash. So yeah, I'll go B plus for Mikey.
All right, good deal. Up next, Tim, the Switzerland Mutual Cats. Made the big trade, traded 4 1st round picks to get up to number 1 to take Bijan Robinson. With Tim's current roster construction, I love that trade. He's trying to win it all. He's got a solid roster. So Bijan gets, he's going to start, right? He'll get a lot of carries. So maybe that puts Tim over the top. The rest of the draft, I didn't really care for. It was mostly defensive guys and Tank Bigsby. So Because of the trade, I'll give him a B plus.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page. Although I think I like Tank Bigsby better than you because I know you're a big Travis Etienne guy. Um, but I think Tank Bigsby is going to be a real contributor this year. So I think that's a good pick. So I think Tim came away with two legitimate contributing running backs this year. As far as the rest of the guys, yeah, they're all nonsense. Um, so yeah, I'll go with a B.
Okay.
Just because first overall pick, you got the best player in the draft, and then third round towards the end, you got a guy who's what Doug Peterson is saying. He's like, yeah, we're gonna play two running backs. We're gonna split Etienne and Bigsby. Like almost a fourth round pick, you get a guy like that.
Yeah. And that's what they did last year
That's
too.
legit.
Yeah, with Hasty. So yeah, good draft by Tim. All right, and last but not least, the Upstate Asterix. So 5 picks for Nick. Was missing a second round pick. The running back out of Miami, Jalen Carter, Jordan Battle, Eric Gray, Felix, and Dookie Uzma. So I like the running back out of Miami. I think he'll get a lot of run, especially with Jeff Wilson getting hurt on IR. So it's just him and Mostert. So should be a good pick. I'm, as I've mentioned, not typically a fan of defensive picks, but Jalen Carter looks like a complete monster out on the field, so that one might work out. Last 3 guys don't particularly care for. So for that, I'll give Nick a probably a B.
No, indeed. I mean, he got lucky with the Miami guy that Jeff Wilson just got randomly injured out of nowhere. The
Mm-hmm.
rest of them are defensive guys, which I don't give a shit how much of a beast Jalen Carter might be. The NFL is a different story. How many inside defensive linemen actually produce fantasy points? And then, all right, Eric Gray, Giants running back. He's fourth on the depth chart. Like he's a kick returner. Stash him for anything else, but that's a fifth round pick. Never heard of the last guy, so yeah. I mean, I just see nothing here.
All right. So what grade you giving him?
D
B is in boy or D is in dog?
D is in dog.
All right. All right, so that wraps up our draft grades for 2023. All right, we just went through the draft grades. Now we're going to do some division predictions and then pick the champ. So let's start in the Dome Dog division. We got Tim, Bry, Derek, and Bob. Give me your thoughts on the order in which the season ends there.
Tim, Bry, Derek, and Bob. Yeah, I mean, I would say any reasonable man would have to say that Tim, he's got a all-star squad. So, I'm gonna go Tim number one. Like he won he won the division last year, so defending champs have to come around the next year. And then Bry, I mean, I've liked Bry's team for the last maybe 2, 3 years, but he's always underperformed somehow. But yeah, I'm gonna go Bry a close second. Like Tim and Bry, I think, are the top two of the top teams in the league. And then Derek, I don't know, man. Like Derek thinks he's good, but I don't think he's really good. Um, he has a couple studs, but Derek won't trade me some guys, so he's toast. And then Bob, yeah, Bob coming fourth again, maybe last, and have some good draft picks.
All right, so you're going chalk. Tim, Bry, Derek, Bob.
Yep.
All right. I don't want this to seem like I'm lazy, but it's going to seem like I'm lazy. I'm going the exact same because Tim's, I mean, he's got studs. He's got depth too. Bry has studs. He just doesn't have as much depth as Tim. I will say, I think this division sends 3 teams to the playoffs. I think they get both wild card spots because I do like Derek's team. Bob's picking first next year. This is a brutal division. All right, let's move on to Nachos Grande. We got me, you, a
Ah,
trio of Pranos,
uh,
and Mike Sherino. So, what do you think here?
when I feel bad for Mike that he got, kind of wrangled in. Um, I don't think I'm very impressed with what he's got going on. Um, for the last few years, I always thought Big Daddy's team was good, but it seems like it's kind of fallen off a little bit. Um, like guys, DJ Moore, Aya, Cortland Sutton, those all seem like guys that should be top 10, but they're just like top 40. Um, so that's a similar team, James. What do you got going on? Yeah, you're in a sell kind of team, so yeah, and I'm just dirt too. So man, I don't know, James. We just seem like four teams that whichever way the wind blows, that's the way it's going to take us.
All right, so what's your prediction?
No, you go first this time because
Okay, I
I
can
went
go.
first last time.
I can go
Yeah.
first. So Homer pick. I'm obviously in the selling mode, right? I got rid of a lot of guys. I think I have 4 first round picks next year, but I am still picking myself to win the division just because I don't have. There's not a compelling argument against it. I feel like I'm the default answer. Like you said, there are holes on every single roster. I will say I guarantee only one team makes the playoffs from this division. I can't see anyone getting a wild card on top of the division win. So I'm picking myself. I'll go.
Wait, so you're going yourself first?
Yep, myself first. I think after that, I'll probably go Mike second, Dad third, and you in fourth.
Interesting. Well, you know what? I'm going myself first. And I'm gonna go Mike second, Big Daddy third, and you fourth.
All right. Definitely not just to spite me, right? Yes.
No, 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 no. Trust me, completely subjective.
Yeah. I think you meant objective, but anyway, moving on. Dirty Sabaro Slice. We got Akviva, Jeff, Mikey, and Tadio. Obviously, if I had 3 teams making it from the first division, only one from the second, I think 2 teams are going to make it from the third. This will be a competitive division. I really hate the trade that Akviva made, giving Josh Jacobs basically for free away to Jeff, which was an interdivision trade, which makes it even worse somehow. Than it was. So
What did Aquaviva get in return for that?
for on the Josh Jacobs trade you're talking about,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So it was Jacobs and a second for Nick Bosa and Logan Wilson, 2 defensive players.
Fuck. Aquaviva has no offensive bench guys. He's got CLH, he stinks. Hubbard, they are
So
actually
this
kind of like failing this year, but like, dude,
Yeah, so
nonsense.
obviously I didn't like the trade. One of Akviva's reasons was, Jacobs wasn't in camp. Obviously, I'm glued to anything Raiders, particularly throughout the offseason. So he was always going to show up before week 1. But that was one of the reasonings, was he was holding out. So he traded for a defensive end who was also holding out. So I didn't understand the logic there. And then I just don't think the value is there. Maybe it was, and maybe I'm wrong. But I don't like it. And then to throw in a second on top of that. So I think Jeff won the trade. I think he took a step forward. Nick took a step back. They both have decent teams. So I'm actually going Jeff to win it, Akviva to come in second and make the playoffs, Tadio to come in third, and then as much as I love Mike Bowman joining the league, I still think Mikey ends up fourth in that division.
Wait, so you said Aqua first,
No,
Jeff
Jeff
second,
Jeff first, Aqua second.
a second? Okay. I gotta say, James, this is nonsense, man.
What's nonsense?
Because I mean, I'm picking Aqua here fourth. This team absolutely fucking blows. He's starting Marquise Brown, Odell Beckham, who hasn't caught a pass in 3 fucking decades, and Kyle Pitts. Those are his starting three of his starting guys. And Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk. Four of his starting
So,
guys are trash. And then he has nobody on the bench. Zero fucking people on the
oh,
bench.
I actually don't
Zero.
mind.
Zero.
I don't mind his bench. Actually, I think Traylon Burks does pretty good. I think Tony does good. Boyd's not horrible. You already mentioned Thielen, and he got lucky with the Jeff Wilson injury with the Miami running back. So I actually don't hate his depth. I don't think Odell Beckham ends up actually being a starter. I know he hasn't set his lineup for week one, so. Um, yeah, so I mean that's my thoughts on his bench. I don't think it's as bad as you make it out to be.
I mean, I'm putting Jeff way ahead of him. He's got Henry, Jacobs, Keenan Allen,
Oh
DK
yeah,
Metcalf,
yeah. I said Jeff
Quentin
was going to win the
Johnson, Cooper
division.
Cuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then let's see.
So who you
Let's take
picking
a look at.
second?
Well, I need to look at Taddeo first.
It's almost like you do no research before we do these podcasts.
Dak Gibbs, Delvin Cook, Dobbins, CD. It's like Taddeo and Mikey are basically the same guy. Yeah,
How do you
Taddeo
think
and
Delvin
Mikey.
does on the Jets? I traded him to Taddeo before he got signed by the Jets. Let me just pull up the trade real quick. It was Delvin, DeAndre Hopkins, and Schoonmaker for Michael Mayer and a first.
You know what? I'm gonna go Taddeo third. You know what? I'm gonna go Mikey first, Jeff second.
It's a bit, so Mikey first, Jeff second, Taddeo third, Aqua last.
Yeah, Aqua
Uh,
last, dude. He he has nothing. All right, Mikey Pollard could be fucking top five, top 10. Kenneth Walker, same. Montgomery, dude, those are three starting running backs. Waddle, Beast, Brandon Cooks, and then dude on the bench, Khalil Herbert, he's the fucking guy. Judy coming back, Palmer, Addison, like Sam Laporta starting tight end. I don't know. I feel like Mikey has way more potential than Aqua has. Jeff, all
So
right.
I so I agree with that. The potential's there, but I feel like we say the same thing about Mikey every year, and he always ends up in last. So I can't until he proves me wrong. I'm putting him in fourth. I'm not saying he's as bad as he has been previous years, but I think he ends up in fourth.
Fine. I'm gonna flip it. I'm gonna say Jeff one, Mikey two. All right.
Okay.
Jeff one, Mikey two.
All right.
Taddeo three, Aqua is toast. He had his 1 year wonder.
All
Yeah.
right. So given all that, who you picking to win the league this year?
So first place division, Tim, me, and Jeff. Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, of course, me.
You're
Yeah.
picking the Squids to win the division, huh? Or to
Oh yeah.
win the championship. Okay. All right. It's a bold strategy, especially starting two tight ends. We'll see how it works out for you.
Well, I don't have to. I mean, I could put Zay
Oh,
Flowers
you
in,
want
Marvin
to? Yeah, you
Mims.
want to. You
Yeah.
don't. You don't have to.
No, no,
Um,
no, no, James. I'm only keeping Ingram in there for trade bait. So I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, look, starting tight end. Let's go.
all right. I'll say this. I think the championship game is going to be a battle between the Gilbert brothers, and I am taking Tim to kick the snot out of Jeff in the championship game.
Gonna argue against that.
All right. All right, so those are our official 2023 predictions, draft grades. I don't know. You got anything else?
Uh, don't think so. Maybe some Tully's tenders. That's about it.
Oh, you're hungry for some tenders? All right. All right. Well, thanks for joining today. I'm glad we're getting back into this and football is starting because it has been way too long.
These red Richmond, north of Richmond, Lord knows they all just wanna have total control. Wanna know what you think, wanna know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know that you do. 'Cause your dollar ain't shit, and it's taxed to no end, 'cause the rich men, knows the rich men.
Now I'm very anti-Jets because Randall fucking Cobb. You mean Rodgers, the fucking genius of the NFL quarterbacks? Rodgers, he's on my shit list. I always liked Rodgers. I mean, we gave the minions a chance to, let their voice be heard, and their voice stunk. So now it's time for the elites to, make the right decisions. Too much climate change in this league. We need to make sure everyone, behaves themselves.